It is after 2, and we don't quite have a quorum, but I'm sensing we might not get a quorum today, given that class is out. We rescheduled this meeting, and it conflicts with some other meetings that people felt they needed to attend. So is everyone comfortable if we just get started for information purposes?
Yep.
Okay. We'll skip approval of the minutes, but you have them. If you have any comments or changes, please give them to Lizette, and she'll adjust them accordingly. Okay? Oh, we could get excited. Hi. Still not quite quite. We're getting close.
We're getting close, okay.
We're getting close. Okay.
Borrow your pen there.
Sure. I stole it from someone.
Okay, good.
I got this one from the chancellor's office. So.
Okay.
Payback.
So we've started for informational only. Okay, the first is the update from the state budget workshop. I'll start, and then Hedvig could fill in. A group of 4 of us went to the workshop in Irvine. It was a real blast commuting there. The main takeaway is there was a big concern that came up recently in the finance world. The chancellor's office advanced apportionments is only based off of what the district earned last year. Normally, we would expect it to be what we earned last year plus COLA. And they're not distributing the COLA, even though it is approved in the budget. And we could talk about the merits of that. Some of our colleagues had things to share with the Vice Chancellor about the merits. But for the important question, we drilled in, so what's it reasonable to budget? Should we only be budgeting what we got last year? And it came back that it is reasonable to budget what we received last year plus COLA unless we're in a declining enrollment. So our budget assumption of taking what we received last year in COLA, we're going to move forward with that. I believe I shared last time we're using that because there's really no change in our demographics. We're on a very slight growth pattern, and we're not seeing an increase in poverty level or a decrease, and we don't think the success demographics will change that much. So we're going to go with staying the course, plus COLA.
Why are they doing that? Did they say?
They are concerned what they call, they don't like using the D word deficit anymore. They use constricted. And it turns out they had not fully funded last year. We came very close, but we were still on a constricted apportionment. And there's some concern regarding that. But they feel by P1, all those things will be resolved. Now, given that P1's in February, you'd think they know what the year's going to end up if they have 7 months down. So, Mark, to answer your question, to me, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But there's a whole new team at the Chancellor's office. Eloy brought in a lot of new people, and there's been a lot of turnover, plus they changed the funding model. And the funding model's starting to settle down. They've got legislative definitions on some of the success matrix and how they're going to calculate it. They did have one more change for us. Under the old funding model, you got, for FTES, you got what you earned current year or the prior year, whichever was greater. And when you were using prior year, they could call that sustainability. They're moving away from that, and they're doing a 3-year average. And for credit FTES, they will not give you sustainability anymore. So meaning if you have a drop in your FTS, you're going to fill it that current year. It'll be averaged over 3 years, so it'll be muted, but you will have an immediate decrease. Then they will give you what's called restitution, and that means if you had a target, say 25,000 FTES, they would say you could get a 0.5% growth on that. And if you came in at 25 4 or 5. Well, next year you go to your 25 plus your 0.5%. So you get 3 years to make up your number before they take it away from you and quote rebench you, which rebenching on a rolling average is something we're trying to figure out what that is too. So they will let us still make it up if we have a bad year. In the past, there would be a strategy of shifting or borrowing on the summer because it's either when census or when the course ends, and you can play on some of your summer courses on which year you do it. The advantage of that has been going away, and with this 3-year averaging, it's pretty much, it's not a good strategy anymore. People aren't looking to that. But in the past, you could borrow FTS to hit your growth target, knowing you'd have sustainability the following year, so you'd get 2 years at the higher, and then the following year you could do it again, and you could step your revenues up, and that has gone away. But then they came out with a discussion of the fawn, and I'm sure there'll be a lot more discussions at the CEO level on the fawn. Although we're using a 3-year average for the fawn, for our apportionment, they are using the prior year FTS to calculate the fawn. And what that would mean for a district that's growing, you will have the requirement to hire full-time faculty before you have the revenue, because it's on a 3-year average. So there's concerns regarding that they're using different definitions, but they feel, Christian, the vice chancellor, he was very adamant that the chancellor's office feels the statute says they have to do that. So it may take legislative relief, so it'll probably be with the CEOs. So we'll continue calculating the fund like we have in the past, but they're going to fund us on a different method. So,
if I could just add to that, but for us, that actually works in our favor, because the actual the base that we had to produce last year was actually a lower number than what it would have been if we had continued with a single year.
Mhm.
So our 3-year average is actually lower than what
Mhm.
it would have been if we were just following that.
correct, but it's lower, but the fund is calculated on a single year projectile.
Right, but the single year that we're looking at is not the highest of the 3 years.
Okay.
So for us, it won't be as bad because we're not in this
Right.
really steep growth.
And they are predicting on the preliminary numbers they gave out on the fund that we're flat. We had hiring last fiscal year for this year, and they're predicting the fund's always confusing because you calculate it 1 year based off the year before, but you don't have to meet it to the following year. So, hi. We can now vote. Okay. Hedva, anything else from the conference?
But that doesn't really matter, right? Because I mean, it's a yearly thing.
It's a yearly
So
thing.
even if you were a little bit behind 1 year, the next year it's.
We're hopeful, but the districts that are steadily growing, it's just giving folks angst because they're using different numbers in their calculations. So they're using a lower number to pay us than a number they're using to require us to do something. And the feeling is it should be the same. It's just one of those finance things. It should be the same, and then hold us accountable for what you're paying us to do, and we'll do it. But so hopefully it's just an intellectual exercise with us finance geeks, and it really doesn't impact people. So, okay. Hedva, anything else?
Quick thing to go on what you were saying, we like consistency.
Yeah.
So that's why, And I thought that was a really good point. The other thing is, I think you mentioned that although the FTES is a 3-year average, but the CDP and the incarcerated was also changing.
Well, they were going to, it will be not a 3-year average.
Right.
It is the prior year.
Right.
And it also is at a higher level because those students do not participate in the success matrix. So.
And other than the apportionment, we're not getting many dollars in the physical plans and instruction. We're getting a whole 290,000.
Yeah.
That's the least that we've gotten in ever, that I recall.
Yeah. On the capital facilities, because we do have the Seraphim building funded, we're trying to figure out how that cash flow works. We anticipate starting construction in the latter part of late spring of 2020. Right now, doing the demolition and construction, we're going to have to probably do bridge financing on the district share until hopefully we can pass a GEO bond. But the cash flow, because of the delays in getting us our reimbursement, the way that the state works is they give us an allocation, we spend the money, they replenish us. And building that size, it's possible if it's fully staffed to spend $2 million a month as during construction. So it's a significant cash flow issue. We got a while to figure it out, but Long Beach Community College was there and said they were waiting over 6 months to get a reimbursement. So that'd be $12 million that we'd have to front. So I'm concerned about that. Okay, that's pretty much the.
Can I ask a question? before
Sure.
we move on? Was there any mention, discussion either way about money for part-timers for office hours or there?
No additional funds.
Okay.
Are
there?
That was what a lot of people felt was a left out
Yeah.
in the final budget deal.
Yeah. Well, it seemed like they left it out at the beginning too.
Yeah. Well, the legislature was advocating.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. But, yeah. Okay, the next thing is something Mark requested twice. And it's in your packet, and I tried to do it as simple as possible. It is a moving target. It'll continue to flex a little bit, but the majority of faculty get STIRS. However, there is some faculty that are in PERS, and adjunct faculty can be on our Apple program, so it's not universal, all faculty, just faculty are on STIRS. We also have management that were on STIRS prior that continue on STIRS. So we used what I would call the STIRS eligible salaries in the 1920 budget. And I multiplied it by the 1819 rate, which was 16.28. Then the state adopted rate, which is 17.1. And then the prior rate of 18.13. If you recall, the governor and worked with the legislature to buy down our STIRS rate just a little over 1%. And the question was, what is that impact on the district? So if there was no change in the rate, it would have been $11,400,000. If an old rate was in effect, it would be jumped to $12,745,000. But because of the 1% discount, our STIRS is going to be $12,021,000. So in essence, we had cost avoidance of $720,000. And Was that the information you were looking for?
Yes. thank you.
Okay. And this is all moving, and when people talk about this, be sure to define what they're talking about, because it's what we end up spending in STRS will be different because this is a budgeted number and all the puts and takes. And we're almost done with adopted budget, but there's still some fine tuning, so, okay. All right, and then Dean Miller, you had questions on promise. And me being new, I said, Cynthia, what are all our promises? And she gave us this worksheet, and there's some websites where you can go in and check on them. But it talks about the California Promise, and which was the BOG and how that works and who's eligible. Then the AB 19 Promise, and they're rolling out a second year on it now. And then the PC Promise, and how the PC Promise is limited to a geographical area. The AB 19 Promise is limited to first-time, full-time. And the California or BOG waiver is open to anyone who financially qualifies.
So just one more question. So will we
Okay.
be offering the second year to our
Yes.
students? Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for this information. It's great.
Okay, and the California Promise, the first one, they do not need to be full-time, and it is multiple year. It's income-based. Okay, and the second page is where you can, it has all the resources, and you can click into it and find out everything. Okay. The last thing, I was interested in developing a calendar for budget development for the 2021 budget year, and to have it public, so people know what we're doing, where the different inputs will come in on the budget. And I have to say, this is kind of just my shop, and this is the first sharing of the calendar, and I'm not asking for approval on it, but I would encourage you to review it and then share it with colleagues. There's things in here like Terry, under March, we have where all the deans and managers will get to review their staffing of what's in the budget, and hopefully that'll help with knowing how much faculty you have and being able to develop a schedule on time. If there are other key dates we need to put, or action items put in here, if you could forward them to me, I'd appreciate it. So we can make sure we have a document that says what the institution is doing to develop its budget.
So you're saying this is September of 2019, and each
Yeah.
month following,
Yes,
and this is the development of the next fiscal year.
Yes. so in a year from now, we'll be finishing the adopted 2021 budget.
So in regard to staffing with faculty, that process will actually start in September coming up for the following fall.
September 19th?
Yeah.
Okay,
And so the process we have basically is that we'll have conversations about the fall 19 farm. And, no, we'll be having, because this is fall 19, we'll be having conversations about fall 20 farm. But before we finish those conversations, the actual process that's driven by AP starts with me asking faculty to start submitting applications for faculty that will start fall of 20.
okay,
They'll submit those applications, and then there's an academic senate committee that prioritizes them, and then the president prioritizes them based on recommendations that come from exact. But somewhere in that process, we'll have the preliminary fund numbers for that fall. And so a decision will be made about the number of positions we're going out for.
Mhm.
So that actually starts earlier than
Okay.
we have to.
What, I'd
I
like-
can give you the dates.
yeah, and I'd like to plug those in,
Yeah.
those milestones, because one of the disconnects, I'll call it, was in this budget, and of course, I'm coming in at the end and just bayoneting the wounded, you know. But between the things budget and fiscal needed to know, the things your house needed to know for scheduling, and the things HR needed to know were disconnected, and I'd like to get it laid out because faculty is, from a financial standpoint, I don't mean to be demeaning to faculty because I appreciate the work they do, but they're our largest expenditure. You know, they're it. So from a financial, by March, we want to know what we're doing because it kind of drives the whole rest of the process and budget.
And so the other part of that that complicates it is that in the fall, we will be making a determination based on our bond for the following fall.
Right.
How many faculty we're going to need to hire.
Mhm.
That will be an estimate at that point because we won't know how many faculty will separate from the district because they're retiring, because usually we don't learn that until March, April, May,
Yeah.
et cetera. And what we also don't know is how many of the positions we go out for might fail in the process.
Right.
So, for example, in this last year, when we started the hiring process, we said we were going to go out for 57 positions.
Right.
We did, and then as we got closer to the end of the hiring process, that number got scaled back to 46. And a big part of that difference was because we built in a certain number that would fail. This is all stuff that I can provide you, the
Right.
various dates that we've done in the past. But there are some unknowns because, you know, we don't know exactly what we need until we're 45 days before the end of the fiscal year, so that if faculty separate after that 45 days, that it doesn't impact bond, basically. And 45 days is later than March, and so it's around, you know, it's like April 20th or something like that.
Right.
So anyway, so those are the uncertainties.
Normally, from a financial standpoint, a senior faculty member retiring, hiring a new faculty member is easy budgetarily.
Right.
Surprise, we need an extra 4 faculty members is budgetarily more difficult.
Right.
So,
Why are you building failures?
Because failures happen, and if we have to have a certain number, and we just go out for that number, and then we have.
And then you have
and
the
then we have
failures, you're
failures,
short.
then we'll be short.
Then you're short. Okay.
Right.
and everyone's aware there's a huge penalty if we miss the fawn number.
Yeah, right.
They do consider it, we call it fawn, but they consider it an obligation.
Yeah.
Well,
And
let's say,
obligation number.
Right, no, it's
Yeah.
expensive.
So it's roughly 50% of salary of a.
How does the staff and management hiring fit in? I mean, I know we have the obligation of the bond, but there's not a legislative issue with.
There is not.
Okay.
There is not.
we're not required to have a certain number.
Either management or staff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We put it in our annual updates. So
Yeah.
Oh, you
we'd
just,
like to hire-
so that's what, right, yeah.
Yeah.
We-
And there's not a penalty when we
Right.
fail to hire.
Okay.
I believe we have to have a president is the only requirement.
Yeah.
Yeah. Under head coach, you have to have a president.
Yeah, we do have to have a president.
Yeah. Okay.
You said something about if older faculty retire
Uh-huh.
and it's not a budgetary issue to replace them with new faculty?
Correct. It's called turnover. So normally, you could have a more senior faculty member, perhaps has longevity, you moved up on the step, been with us a long time, and then we hire a younger faculty member, mid-range on the salary schedule, and that is turnover.
You shouldn't use the word younger and older, you should use the words.
More or less experienced.
But they probably are younger.
Right, but yeah, the point is that someone who's been here for 25 years.
In their professional career at PCC.
Right, somebody who's been here for 25 years, the cost to the district is much greater to someone who's coming in the door.
Yeah, the salary schedule is built that way.
Yeah,
So,
Really?
Mark knows that.
I know that too, I just wanted to hear that.
I said.
no, I'm not going to deny
Because
it.
we hear the complete opposite from
I know.
others who say that, no, it doesn't work.
Yeah, well,
It doesn't work if older faculty retire, we put something with younger faculty. That has nothing to do with the budget.
It does have something to do with the budget. It
Next time
also
you talk
has
to
something
board
to
trustees,
do with
tell them
the,
that.
you know, that, yeah, I think ideally, both budget and operationally, you want that right mix,
Yeah.
you know? That's how colleges are set up, so,
It's like a baseball team.
yeah,
Same thing, like a football
Yeah.
team.
yeah.
You gotta have the cheap players and the expensive players. Otherwise, it's not
oh,
gonna
it's
work.
money ball for PCC.
That's what it is, it's basically money ball.
Yeah. Okay,
Everybody knows the quarterback makes the most money.
yeah. But we just heard we hired a counselor who was a quarterback and a wide receiver, and we're thinking,
Trevor.
that is really talented.
Well, especially not the same
Throw
time.
to himself.
Yeah, that's what I was going to.
Throw to himself, I would be impressed.
It's true though, right?
This is the incredible.
Yes, he was both.
He was both.
Yes.
Hopefully he didn't start in both. Okay,
I think he was trying to go to the pros, and the writing was on the wall that
That's
he
a
would
tough
go
spot.
as a wide receiver better than he would as a black quarterback.
yeah.
Mike, back to serious question. So, would we look at this and then it would go to the board? Is that, what's the?
No, this is an administrative tool. It would be part of our documentation of shared governance. It would be shared with the executive cabinet and our colleagues. And then it will also give a good basis at dealing with when we need information, why do we need it, expectations on deliveries, to try to keep everything on pace. So when we, ideally, we're pulling together the tentative budget before everyone leaves, you know, and so everyone has an idea of where we're going, and then we wait to see what the state final budget is, and then we just implement it. So it seems like a long process, but you know how spring semester is, it just starts flying by, so we,
Well, it is a process and it happens every year, so I think,
Yeah.
looking at it and laying it out makes
Right.
sense.
And another thing, I don't have a lot of the vetting process that I've seen in calendars because I don't know what our culture is here. Are we vetting the budget just with the board? Are we vetting the budget at budget forums? Are we vetting it with committees? But whatever this institution's process is, I want to honor it. So, and if we don't have a process, then we could create it if we so choose. Okay? Because I believe it should be the college's budget.
Just the board, I think.
Just the board?
Better with anybody else.
Okay.
We have forms.
Yeah, we have forms.
We have forms,
They don't
budget
vet the
forms.
budget, they vet the proposals, the requests.
We have budget forums.
We've had them in
That
the
would be
past.
exciting, huh?
We've
I've
had-
never seen a budget forum on this campus.
Yeah.
I know I did one personally at Foothill. I
Really?
had a PowerPoint.
We
and
have
I know-
3 a
I
year.
know Richard had done them here on campus, so let's kind of test to those.
And
She
a
was
lot
with
of
me.
people attended,
Yeah.
about maybe 100 staff.
Was this last year?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we have 3. The invites went out campus-wide, and they were advertised, and invitations to manager, deans, to everybody.
Maybe I didn't realize it was a forum. Maybe that's something else. Yeah.
So we could add those things into
Oh.
know. And I don't know if the budget's shared with the Academic Classified Senate. I've had, depending on the senates, I've had multiple, you know, when I was at Oxnard, it'll be a request, come and share what the budget is, and others go away. So whatever the culture is, I'd like to be able to.
Yeah, they classified if they request one of the Brac people just to share. I've done a 5-minute one before.
Okay, whatever the culture is. That's all that I have. Is there any request from this committee for information for next time? And you don't have to have it now, you can, as long as it's not the day before, you know, if you give us at least a week, we'd be happy to bring whatever you need.
Do we have quorum to approve the minutes?
What?
Do we have a quorum to approve the minutes?
Yes, we do, but I'd like to finish this.
And we're meeting the 22nd?
22nd.
Thank you for providing this information that you did this. I think one of the first times that someone's gone back and actually provided information that we've asked for, so I appreciate that.
I hope to set the trend, because this is the committee that makes recommendations where we share information, and if you need information, you should be able to get it. Okay. Will we be able to share?
That was going to be my question, the budget. We maybe have a draft that we will,
Why don't we say we'll share a draft, and then if we have to make tweaks afterwards, our colleagues will understand, because I'm sure they want a balanced budget in the end. But we'll put a draft of.
Maybe August 22nd?
I'm sorry?
For August 22nd?
Yeah, draft
Yeah.
of the adopted budget.
Okay.
At
The
least a
proposed.
snapshot.
Where's that?
I'd like to call that the proposed adopted budget.
Proposed, yes.
For the next meeting, right?
Yes. Okay. Keep in mind, the budget is the superintendent and president's document to the board. I wouldn't want to speak for her and have an opportunity to write my resume, so. Okay.
Move to approve the minutes.
All right. Then we have minutes that we can now vote on. Is there a motion to approve the minutes? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Move to approve the minutes.
Second? Okay.
Sorry, Deacon. It's okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
They're approved. And we did them on time. Cool.